so that he can relate to you what they're doing to push back, but what started it all. And basically, his story is that of a small group that discovered Santa Barbara Unified School District for the 10 years has spent more than $1 million on their friends in one nonprofit group to conduct implicit bias training.
Jeez.
Implicit bias training could be anything. And the teachings are discriminatory. The teachings are discriminatory against Caucasians, males, Christians, and more, and they are divisive and, of course, toxic. Who wants to raise a kid that way? We don't. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would proud to introduce to you Attorney Johnson Morse.
John Morse.
First time I've seen the PowerPoint on the back wall. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to read along the PowerPoint. It's my pilot
Should we turn
number.
around?
No.
Make sure I cover it.
If you move the side, we can see it in the mirror.
What's that?
If we move the side, we can see it in the mirror.
Let him do his thing.
Should we turn our seats?
No, so
Yes, you can turn your seats.
So, John, let me.
Turn your seats when I have one cartoon I want you to look at.
Okay, so you'll let me know if you want me to move the camera. Okay.
Okay. As you know, being in California, in the very blue state, sometimes thinking that things are hopeless. But this is a story of how a few committed people have been taking on the powers that be in the Santa Barbara School District. We've been getting some results. Starting with a group of 3 people, Fair Education Santa Barbara now has more than 300 members. And we form coalitions with other people and organizations, and we're challenging the status quo in the Santa Barbara Unified School District. In this presentation, I'm going to describe what we're doing, what we've accomplished, and what our next steps are. And I hope that I can use this as a model to inspire other people to push back against some of this social justice and other weird things that are going on in the schools.
Mark.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to turn around. There's the one thing in my PowerPoint I wanted to have you look at. People ask me, why am I involved in this? I live in Westlake Village in Santa Barbara. But I have kids, and I still have grandkids in school. And I want to do something to push back against the cancer that's going to be spreading statewide if we don't do something about it. You know, I have 4 children that have been through college. 3 of them have been infected with liberalism.
Oh,
The one that wasn't went to school in Switzerland.
that says it all.
That should say it all.
Yeah, I've heard that's a common story.
Now, let me tell you a little bit about Santa Barbara, which is 60 miles north of me. Santa Barbara is a very liberal town. It's majority Hispanic, and it's filled with limousine liberals. It's actually a lot of poor people in Santa Barbara. You wouldn't think so. It's a very expensive place to live.
On the other side of the tracks.
The other side of the tracks is the east side. But it's home to very many left-wing nonprofit groups and other organizations. One for Santa Barbara, Sage Publications. There are a lot of these liberal nonprofits that are spreading their tentacles. But the worst thing is they're getting money out from the school district into those nonprofits so they can infect the kids at the schools. Santa Barbara is run by a very elite group of liberals, and they're acting under the control of other liberals. That's just the way it is.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I said Santa Barbara is run by a very elite group of liberals acting under the control of other liberals.
Okay.
And the Santa Barbara School District is a very progressive agenda. It emphasizes cultural proficiency and equity as its main goals.
Not the 3 hour.
That's right. Fact is, the Santa Barbara School Board has been rubber stamping the programs put forth by the superintendent and his underlings, basically without challenge until Fair Education Santa Barbara came along.
What's it called? Peer education?
Now, Fair Education was formed about a year ago as a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. 3 people started this organization. And we now have over 300 members. Our function is to advocate for all students, regardless of race, sex, religion, or other factors. They've tried to paint us as a bunch of white supremacists, and hang pretty hot. Initially, they were formed to challenge the Santa Barbara Unified School District's funding of a group called Just Communities Central Coast. And we're now involved as a watchdog in several other activities. We got into what's really going on. When we pull on the thread, something else pops up. And we're finding more and more. It's pretty terrifying. But the good news is we're making some headway. We've only been in business for a year. And already they're taking notice of us. Our main target so far has been Just Communities Central Coast, another nonprofit. The executive director of Just Communities, a transplant out of St. Louis, he was trained at the Midwest Academy in Chicago, if you've heard of that.
Yes.
It's a far-left training ground for community organizers and other political activists.
Wow.
Guess who?
Michael Bozo.
JCCC, Just Communities, was incorporated in 2008, but they've had their tentacles in Santa Barbara since 2003. They sort of rebranded, set up a separate corporation. And one of the assistant superintendents in Santa Barbara School District, Fran Wagonet, was one of the original incorporators of Just Communities. Bit of a conflict, I would say. And in fact, the superintendent and another of the assistant superintendents, along with the incorporator, have been instructors in their programs. And there are other people embedded within the school district which are very strong supporters of Just Communities. It's heavily funded by left-wing organizations, including the Fund for Santa Barbara, Sage Publications, which is owned by Sarah Miller-McCune. They publish a lot of research data. We think we're onto something about why they're so heavily involved in Santa Barbara and with Just Communities. And we'll get into that a little bit longer soon. But for more than 10 years, they've been getting buckets full of money without competitive bidding, which is a violation of state law, except in very narrow circumstances.
Wow.
For more than 10 years, they got more than $1 million to provide this implicit bias training. And one of our founders found out about this, went to a school board meeting where the people were standing up like robots saying how great the program was. And then they had a contract coming up for approval by the school board, about $300,000 for the school year 2018-19. They rubber stamped it through 5-0. That's when we filed suit against them.
Yay!
After we filed suit, they actually went up and approved another contract for 2019-20 for a little more than $300,000.
No, brother.
So they need a little persuasion to change their ways. But the worst thing is, Santa Barbara Unified is paying another $110,000 to another of its partners to evaluate the effectiveness of Just Communities program. If you want to take a look, there's another thing that came directly from their materials. It's called the Table of Oppression, and it describes the types of oppression that they're saying is involved in the school district. You see this, the 3 columns, they have a form of oppression, a privileged group, and a target group. So under their rhetoric, racism is white people oppressing people of color.
Oh
not
my
the other way around.
gosh.
Wow.
Sexism is men oppressing women.
Oh, that's right. White people never endure racism. Sure.
That's right. And classism is wealthy people oppressing working poor and working class. Now, in case they think that we somehow misinterpreted what they were saying, we've copied some of the key definitions from the own materials. Initially, they refused to show us any of their materials.
What?
We actually got them from another source. They weren't smart enough to realize they had published some of their materials on the Santa Barbara City College website and never took them down. But according to their rhetoric, oppression is a system that benefits some groups, often called privileged groups, and disadvantaged other groups, often called target groups. Classism is defined as a system of oppression based on socioeconomic class that privileges people who are wealthy and targets people who are poor or working class. Now, they also say that classism also refers to the economic system that creates excessive inequality and causes basic human needs to go unmet. Does that sound a little bit like socialism?
Yes.
Marxism? Yeah, I was telling my kids that you really want to see a system that creates excessive inequality, causes basic human needs to go unmet. Go to Cuba or North Korea.
Or Venezuela.
Venezuela.
And Venezuela.
And Venezuela more recently, but you know, they're only socialists. I tell my kids the difference between socialism and communism is that the socialists don't have complete power yet. Now, racism, as they define it, is a system of oppression
John,
based on race
sorry to interrupt. Do you want me to just focus on that from now on? Okay.
that privileges white people and targets people of color, not the other way around. And privilege is unearned access to resources that enhance one's chances of getting what one needs or influencing others in order to lead a safe, productive, fulfilling life. Now, Just Communities has two separate programs they're pushing in the schools. One of the programs is aimed at the students. They call it Talking in Class. And Just Communities has requested that only Hispanic kids be put into this program.
Wow.
And in that program, it's a multi-day program taught by Just Community instructors, not by certificated teachers. And the students are taught that Hispanics are victims, that whites are oppressors, and the Hispanics should not associate with them. How do we know this? Well, most of the teachers, as you can imagine, don't want to talk to us.
Huh.
They're afraid for their jobs. But we found a teacher who's now a former teacher, now in Hawaii. She told us everything about this program. She said kids came in back from her class saying they really didn't want to be there. They're telling these Hispanic kids that you should not associate with your white friends because they're oppressive. One Caucasian student with a Spanish surname was put into this class. He came home the first day, he was absolutely traumatized. He told his mother he hated himself for being white. He was ashamed that he did not speak Spanish. He was considering suicide. He's now in therapy. And the school could care less. She's been to the administration. They basically told her, look, you signed a consent for it, you're on your own. But in our view, Just Communities is recruiting these kids to be social justice warriors. Now, they have a separate program for the teachers and staff. They call it the Institute for Equity in Education. And really what it is, it's a system for the educators to be indoctrinated so they can indoctrinate their students. It's a multi-day live-in program. Away from the whole of everything else, in a hotel where you can bond together, drink the Kool-Aid together. During that class, the whites are separated from the non-whites during portions of training. The whites are basically told, you are here to listen. Dissent is not permitted. If you attempt to speak up and explain, you were told that is a form of racism all by itself.
That's the First Amendment.
Yep.
One teacher objected that the program was divisive. This is the one that's now living in Hawaii. She was told that she needed to get in touch with her whiteness. You know, I could go on, but those are the high points, or the low points, depending on your point of view. Now, they also have programs for the parents. We've been to a couple of their parent programs. It's really watered down, because they know we were there. But even then, they were showing their fangs. These people are basically cult leaders in our view. And we asked questions. They did not like it. We asked them, what is cultural proficiency? We were told, look it up on the internet.
Right, it's the usual excuse.
We asked a few other questions, and we were told that we were hogging the conversation, we should just be quiet.
Oh my God.
Now, after we learned that they had been bucketing money, and after they had a contract approved for $300,000, we filed a lawsuit against them. Initially, the lawsuit was filed in the federal court in Los Angeles. We figured that would be a more neutral forum. But the court made it clear that he would not accept the cause of action based on violation of the state law about competitive bidding. So we started the lawsuit over again in Santa Barbara Superior Court. Our defendants are Just Communities, Santa Barbara Unified School District, and Carrie Matsuoka, the superintendent. We have 5 separate causes of action against Santa Barbara School District and Matsuoka and Just Communities. We have a cause of action for violation of the state law that says you have to have competitive bidding on a contract over $50,000. It's designed to prevent cronyism, corruption, dealing with your friends, and making sure you get maximum buck for your dollars. There are some exceptions to it, but in our view, they simply don't hold water. And we also have causes of action against Santa Barbara School District and Matsuoka for discrimination based on race, sex, gender, other factors. It's in violation of the California state statutes. Yes,
And is there any way of you filing a federal lawsuit on the third one?
we could say we did have a federal lawsuit. That's a federal claim, but the federal courts have very limited jurisdiction. And the court made it clear that the cause of action based on the state contract of competitive bidding, that's not a federal claim, and therefore he would not take jurisdiction over that claim.
No, I meant the third one, because that's First Amendment right.
Oh, yes. We did have a federal lawsuit on those, but because he would not accept the cause of action for competitive bidding,
Oh,
it
I
made
see.
a lot more sense to do everything in one courtroom rather than split it up
I see.
into 2
Gotcha.
separate courts.
Civil procedure.
Now, the attorneys for the parties, our attorney is Eric Early. He's a business lawyer
Okay.
in California. You may know him. He ran for attorney general, he got over 1 million votes.
You know?
And he is actually running against our friend Adam Schiff.
Yay! Yay, no pencil neck.
We think Mr. Schiff is vulnerable. I think it's quite possible that a lot of Democrats in his district could decide, well, California's going blue, we don't need to worry about this presidential race, and Mr. Schiff doesn't deserve our vote. If we can get that happen, I think Mr. Schiff can be vulnerable. So we'd encourage you to look up Mr. Early, check out his website, tell your friends about him. For Santa Barbara Unified and Mr. Matsuoka, they're represented by Griffith Thornburg. It's a local Santa Barbara firm with high political connections. They're already defending some lawsuits spawned by Mr. Matsuoka. He demoted a principal, apparently didn't play ball. He admitted in deposition that he misrepresented some facts led to the demotion. That lawsuit's been dismissed, but it's coming back on appeal, I think. Just Communities is a more interesting issue. They're represented by Kirkland & Ellis, which is one of the largest law firms in California, in the world, and Perkins Coie, another very large firm, heavily involved with democratic politics.
Yeah, the election hoax.
What's that?
The election hoax.
CPS.
Yes. As a matter of fact, they were the ones who wanted the money through to pay for the dossier.
Wow.
Now, the lawsuit, as I say, it's really sort of in its infancy. We filed the complaint, we served it on, we're into the second amended complaint now. But all defendants have challenged the legal sufficiency of each cause of action. We're saying we haven't stated a claim, we should be thrown out of court, we're not going any further. Just Communities challenged the cause of action based on discrimination, even though we didn't file a discrimination claim against them. Their claim was what we call an anti-slap motion. They're saying we can't prove that anybody was harmed by anything they did, and therefore we should have those cause of action against them dismissed, and they should get attorney fees.
Wow.
Interestingly enough, it gave us a chance to come back with declarations that say, yes, people have been harmed. We came back with a declaration from Katie Hedden, a former teacher now living in Hawaii. We put in a copy of the letter from the mother whose son was considering suicide and is now in therapy. So guess what? We also have declarations from two parents in the school district. One of them had a daughter in the Santa Barbara High School. The racial hostility in that school was so bad, she actually took her out of school, put her into a charter school.
Good.
Another student has been subjected to what they call the, oh gosh, I forget the name of it now, but basically it says, if you're a person of color, we're not going to suspend you. Restorative justice is what they call it.
Oh, yes.
So this student was being harassed by two other people, partly because he was conservative, partly because he was white. He was sucker punched by one of these kids to the point where he had a concussion. They went back to the school, and what they did, they were going to have a mediation. We'll get everybody in to talk about it, and you guys say you're sorry. And then after that, one of the students actually sent him a message on social media of a gang fight saying, this is what's coming for you. And finally, the school wised up and they suspended the kid.
A good guy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a criminal.
At this hearing, just 2 weeks ago, we had a first hearing on the challenges to our causes of action. And at that hearing, Just Communities was represented by 4 lawyers who flew in from out of town. It was not lost on this Santa Barbara judge. In fact, they had so many lawyers for the defendants, he put the excess into the jury box. But so there's something a lot more than just a $300,000 contract for a little company that's doing implicit bias training. We think we know what it is, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. We think it has to do with data mining for the publication companies. But at the end of the day, the court ruled that Fair Education has stated a cause of action against all defendants on the contract claim. They overruled the defendant's claim in an attempt to get rid of those cause of action. And he ordered them to answer the complaint by November 19th. They tried mightily to say, let's slow this thing down a little bit. We want to have another chance. He said, no, you're going to answer the complaint. 21 days. So now, I think we've got them on the ropes.
Please.
It'd be interesting to see what their answer is. I'm sure that a lot of it's going to be, well, we don't have enough information to admit or deny, and therefore we deny it. But if they admit that this contract was let without competitive bidding, which they really have to, I think we may be in a position to get rid of this lawsuit without having to go to a full-blown trial. And the judge really does not want to have to get in the weeds and decide whether this clause is undue discrimination. And we know that they're going to come back and try to say, well, we've changed our curriculum, so we're really not discriminatory anymore. If we get it thrown out based on the contract, then we're in a position to get other people in, like Museum of Tolerance, to bid on this. I think we can shame them into not spending another $300,000 per year.
And they're liberal.
Oh, yes. Yes, they are. But they don't charge $300,000.
God.
And in our opinion. I think the court is on our side. And I think it's going to be interesting after they file this answer to see where we're going. The best part is we got the press on our side now. They seem to be reporting on us pretty favorably. And that's really huge in this town of Santa Barbara. Now, since this lawsuit started, we've been pulling on these threads. We've been finding other things that are in need of attention. The school facilities are in deplorable condition. I mean, the restrooms are not fit for third world country. Any restaurant in Santa Barbara that had facilities like this would be shut down. We found a procedure called the Williams Act where we can file complaints about the school facilities, the curriculum, and the textbooks, and they have to write it up. They have to respond to us. So far, they've been shining us off, and we've been calling them on it. We've also made a challenge to the non-reporting of sexual harassment of minors. The DA has basically shined off on that, but we've put a big spotlight on it, and we've gotten some favorable publicity, and we've gotten some people on our side across the spectrum. They also attempted to shut down the GATE program in the elementary schools. For those of you who are not aware, a GATE program is gifted and talented education. And the mandate of this school district is to create an equity, to bridge the equity gap. And there's two ways to do that. One is to bring up the lower performing student. The other is to dumb down the higher performing students. Anyway, we had parents out at that school board meeting with torches and pitchforks. And they backed down and they left the GATE program alone.
Wonderful.
They came back again with an attempt to study it. And again, we knew about it. We had people there to talk about it. And that's going nowhere. And we have a petition out asking the school board not to renew the superintendent's contract. As Fair Education only has about 300 members, we've got over 800 signatures on that petition to get rid of the superintendent. This contract runs through 2020-21. Every year they've been renewing it on rubber stamp. We brought that out. We've been speaking why he shouldn't be renewed. The facilities are horrible. He allowed this non-reporting of a minor being sexually harassed, and he's been bucketing money to his friends in the nonprofit in violation of law. Our complaints have been directed toward the district and its administrators, not the school board or the teachers. We made a decision early on. We're going to focus on the school board. We're not after you. You people have a chance to rectify this. They're the bad guys. We're not saying the teachers are bad. They're doing the best they can with what they have.
Would you mind mentioning the superintendent's name?
Carrie Matsuoka.
Carrie Matsuoka.
Carrie
Thank
Matsuoka.
you.
Now, one of the first things we did on our Williams Act complaint, one of our founder's daughters came home. She had been reported being late to class too often.
Here.
And the reason was, she said,
keep me
the
awake.
bathroom facilities where we are so horrible. I have to go across to the Matt Academy. Sharon didn't believe her. She said, let me get pictures for her. We got pictures up there of the bathrooms. You can see sinks torn off the walls. That one toilet hadn't been cleaned. That's over 2 months. We have toilets missing. The sanitary pads missing. I mean, it's deplorable. And when Sheridan took up those pictures to talk at a school board meeting, they actually stopped the meeting. They said, come over here and let us see these pictures. And one school board member said, this is disgusting. Another school board member said they appreciated our bringing that to their attention. So they're actually responding to us. Most of the time when you go speak at a school board meeting, you get your 3 minutes. They say, thank you for speaking. Next speaker, please. But we're getting under their skin.
Good.
These photos, as I say, would not pass muster anywhere. Now again, we wanted to get our facts straight. We know they're going to say, well, we just simply don't have the money to fix these facilities. So that's their excuse. Well, we did a little digging, and Santa Barbara had a bond measure back in 2016. They passed a multi-million-dollar bond measure And they earmarked over $1.8 million to fix these bathrooms. As of April 2019, when they filed our Williams Act complaint, they had earmarked $0 for that project.
Wow.
They've been bucketing money on their favorite stadium project. And at this point, we're gonna get to the bottom of where those funds are. We know that they've not been spent on the bathrooms. They've now told us they scheduled those repairs for completion in summer of 2020. There are other problems with the schools. For example, the desks, you have a picture of one of those desks. Had to be a gorilla bending it back that far. But you literally cannot sit back in that desk. And another desk that actually collapsed on a student. We filed a Williams Act complaint about the desks as well. You can see the lockers, looks like somebody took a fist and punched through some of those lockers. And heating and air conditioning system has been inoperative. It's either boiling hot in the summer or freezing cold in the winter. The daughter of one of our members said that one of her teachers actually has a toaster oven in his classroom to keep his hands warm in the winter. But again, you can see they've got holes in the floor. They've done nothing with that. Again, money has been earmarked for it. Money has not been spent. Now, there's one of the things that really made the newspapers was a non-reporting of an incident that occurred at the Matt Academy. This is Media Arts and Design. It's a very high-end public school within the school district. And they actually have a fundraiser that was on staff, not employed by the school district, but employed by another nonprofit. And he actually made sexual advances to another minor student at the school. Oh, yes. It was worse than that. He sent in nude pictures and explicit texts. The student went to the head of the Matt Academy, who we believe is also a predator, and told him what happened. He was basically told, forget about it. Remember, this guy is a mandatory reporter.
Yes.
There's no reporting to the police.
Yep. That's right.
He graduated from school at the end of 2018. He came back in January of 2019. He went to the assistant principal at Santa Barbara High and made another report. He brought him a slipstick with the photos and the text on it. That assistant principal is also a mandatory reporter. No reporter was made. And what did the school district do? They hired a private investigator to go out and talk to the students and the teachers. Yes.
Why did the students' parents not contact the police themselves since they were getting no action from the school district? Because then that would have come down on them.
I don't think they really understood. I'll tell you later, they did in fact go to the school board and ream them out.